Hi, David Miller here, City Manager, with things to know what's happening in El Dorado. This past Monday, the City Commission took action to authorize the replacement of filter consoles at the water treatment plant. Now you might be asking, what the heck are filter consoles and why are they important to the city? Well, the water treatment plant has a very complex system of computers and monitors that monitor the movement of water through the treatment plant. This allows treatment operators to adjust the process to make sure that we get the best quality water from the beginning of the process all the way through the end. It is complicated, but the bottom line is we needed filter consoles to help us control and monitor the filters where our water actually goes through and gets filtered. These filter consoles were put into the plant back in the 1970s, so they've used a fair amount of their lifespan and have made it a really long time. Now we need to actually move about replacing all 5 of those units. The city had budgeted $125,000 to go about replacing 5 of those units, but when we got around to pricing them, prices have gone up a little bit, and we're only able to replace 2 of those consoles this year. So the commission took action to go ahead and replace those 2 units, those 2 filter consoles, and then we're going to budget for the replacement of the other 3 next year. And primary reason for this is to prevent catastrophic failures. And really what I mean by that is not necessarily catastrophic in the fact that our water will have a significant problem, but catastrophic in the sense that we'll have a more difficult time monitoring and controlling the filtering process. We'll still be able to provide good quality water, but it will be a little more difficult without those systems. So perhaps not catastrophic, but a failure nonetheless. So in a proactive stance, we're going to try to get those replaced so that our water treatment process continues to run very smoothly and allows us to continue to provide El Dorado and its residents great quality water. The city is now in possession of the final report from a recently completed KDOT truck route study. KDOT hired a consulting company to look at our entire truck route and to determine if there were any needed adjustments or enhancements to improve the truck route. We now have that final report, and we can now start looking at the improvements that may need to be made to make our truck route work a little more efficiently for truckers. Some of the improvements that the report designated include bigger and better signage that would actually be further out from the truck route. So as truckers are approaching the city of El Dorado and the truck route, they'll be notified by sign well in advance with bigger signage. Right now the signs are kind of closer to town and they're smaller, and so it's a little more, it's very easy for a trucker to drive by them without seeing them, unfortunately. So the first thing was signage. The second thing is getting our truck route on GPS systems that truckers use to inform them of various truck routes and to maneuver through cities. This is something that the city will need to focus on because truckers today use their GPS systems to maneuver through cities, and unfortunately they use those systems more than they use signs. So we'll be looking at the options for getting our truck route posted on these GPS databases to allow truckers to be assisted in knowing when our truck route begins and how to maneuver through town. And then the third thing that the truck route study looked at was the actual truck route itself and outlined some of the improvements that may be needed to make the truck route more efficient for truckers. So there could be some actual road projects that may come about as a result of the truck route study, although some of these will likely be in the future as we have to plan and determine funding for those improvements. So this is good news because we will be looking at ways to improve our truck route so that we can get truckers on the truck route more often than not, which will keep them out of our downtown. Part of the reason we want to do that is because, number one, the roadway through downtown and around the downtown was not necessarily built to accommodate heavier truck traffic. And secondly, just to accommodate better pedestrian and business activity in the downtown, it's better to keep trucks off of the downtown route and onto the truck route. So we'll be doing more of those improvements as well as some additional enforcement activities, hopefully to keep our trucks on the truck route. Well, the next thing I have to talk about, it's not a specific El Dorado thing, but it does involve the entire state, which as a result also includes El Dorado. The state of Kansas recently completed its first statewide housing needs assessment in about 30 years. This is great news for the city of El Dorado because the document includes a lot of different recommendations that cities can use to help encourage and promote the development of housing throughout the state. The housing needs assessment has determined that there's a big need for housing throughout the entire state. And so by using some of the recommendations within the guide, hopefully the city of El Dorado can foster some housing development within our community. Not only to include affordable housing, which serves a wide variety of the population, to include first-time home buyers, senior citizens, and also just blue-collar workers. We'd also be looking at other types of housing like senior housing. So as people retire and they want to transition out of their single-family homes for less maintenance responsibilities and lower costs, we can have an option for them. And then that can free up some housing opportunities for folks that are looking to move into a bigger house or move into their first house. And so we need to create opportunities for that. The housing needs assessment provides a lot of recommendations to address various types of housing and housing along different spectrums. So we will be looking at that in more detail to figure out different strategies that we can use in El Dorado to facilitate housing development. Finally, the last thing I'd like to talk about, while it is 7 degrees outside and very chilly, we are thinking right now about summer activities. It's hard to believe, but they'll be here before you know it. And we will need people to work our facilities. So if you're interested or know someone who might be interested, I'm talking to you young folks, we have a number of great opportunities to make some money and also serve your community. So in Parks and Recreation specifically, we have opportunities at the pool to include lifeguarding. We have opportunities in our maintenance fields, which would include mowing, parks, cemeteries, and other city-owned property. We also have our field crew, which includes maintaining ball fields and other facilities that we use for recreation activities. We also need some concession stand workers at our pool and at our ball fields. And finally, we're looking for someone to manage our pool. I guess that's not finally, because I forgot, we also need umpires for baseball and softball. So if you have any interest in any of these things, please come to the city's website at www.eldoks.com/jobs to learn more. Now, some of these jobs are relatively part-time jobs, and you can actually use them to supplement a full-time job that you might have during the summertime. So it's a great opportunity to double down on making some money. It's also a great opportunity just to get good quality experience, and most of these jobs are outside. So if you like to get a little bit of sun, some vitamin D, these are great opportunities to do just that. So once again, go to www.eldoks.com/jobs to get more information and hopefully apply for one of these great opportunities. Lastly, I'll say that getting a job with the city is a great opportunity to get your foot in the door for a long-term career. While you may not be working at the pool for the rest of your life, you might be introduced to the city, and then you might fall upon some additional career opportunities that would be more long-term, such as working for Parks and Recreation, or working for another department like police or fire, or even the utilities department, or one of our other departments. So the city has great career opportunities, and one way to get started is to get a job in the summertime working in the Parks and Recreation department. Well, I think that's all I got for now. Hopefully it'll warm up and we can start thinking about getting a beach ball out and playing at the pool. But in the meantime, stay warm, and we'll see you next week on Things to Know.